there's a side to me you don't know about. I had everything I wanted and I was still broken.
I know you said nothing's off limits, which is great.
After a couple minutes or so, I'd feel my body tingling everywhere.
Is this making things worse?
And it was a statue with like my full name, date of birth. It was nuts, man. Like it was insane. Non-stop, traveling the world, getting paid to travel. My phone was like a meter away from my ear because he was shouting, screaming. You think you're an octopus? Wow, that's beautiful. All she did was she put her 2 hands like this on the back of my head. Demonic attachments or evil spirits or black magic. I want you to go into your wardrobe and find a t-shirt that you don't wear very often. I'm just cursed. I'm like, the devil must be real now. Because my team and I have been praying for you. I made a video the other day talking about how there are only 2 genders. I was really corrupted in many areas, you know. The most horrible, disgusting emotion I've ever felt in my life.
This is the Salt Podcast.
The Salt Podcast.
Let's pick up the Bible, let's read, let's pray.
Because that's what Jesus called me to do.
The Lord makes you that salt of the earth.
We need Christians to share the truth.
Preserve the world for Christ.
May this podcast be a beacon of light.
This is the Salt Podcast.
Welcome to the Salt Podcast. My name is Simon Thomas Gilto, and joining me today is my amazing co-host, Georgia Skander. And today we have an unbelievable episode planned for you. However, before we start that, we just want to say to you guys, thank you so much for the support, the ongoing, absolutely amazing interactions that you guys have had with each other as well as with us. However, we'd also like to say, if you guys could also please like and subscribe our content, because it goes a long way as we're putting out all this content for you. It really helps us. So with that being said, today's guest doesn't need introduction. However, if I have to, I will. He's a viral content creator turned Christ follower. From comedy and millions of views to battling depression, demonic attacks, and finding freedom in Jesus. His story is raw, powerful, and real. Welcome to the Salt Podcast, Jamie Sue.
Welcome.
Thank you, guys. Lovely to be here. I don't come to South Sydney very often, actually, so there you go. I just revealed your location. Sorry, my bad.
No, thank you so much. Lovely to have you.
Beautiful. Now, we're going to just straight dive into it, okay? For the viewers that obviously may know you, for the ones that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please, Jamie?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I'm from Sydney. I grew up in Chatswood, and my whole life I grew up quite atheist. So Chinese father and then sort of Hungarian Australian mum. Didn't know the Lord when I was growing up and kind of just got consumed by worldliness, chasing the fame, chasing the materialism, chasing the women. And that sort of led me into wanting to become a professional soccer player. So I tried my luck in the UK, in Serbia, in sort of MPL in Australia. And it came to a point where I just realized that, this isn't for me anymore. So then found YouTube very early on, sort of 2013, 2014, and just felt like this was the way for me to go forward. And saw these guys doing all these prank videos and jumped on board. Next thing I know, I kind of got like millions of followers on social media, find myself trapped in this sort of social media lifestyle with basically gaining the whole world but losing my soul in the process. And then, got demonically possessed in 2021, and then found the Lord later that year. So never been better. And just God is very gracious to sinners as well. The ones that you feel like will be left behind are often the ones that He picks up. So,
wow, what a great summary.
Summarized it better than we could have.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And I know you said nothing's off limits, which is great. So we want to dive a little bit deeper into that. So can you tell us, when you were at your absolute peak success, like what was the kind of lifestyle that you were living?
Good question, man. So look, I guess people have to realize that like I started social media very early on. So I was like sort of second era Australia, you could say. So first era you would, I guess, identify as, Super Wog, My Chonny, the Janoskians, all these sorts of guys that you guys may remember. And then once, I guess, YouTube it wasn't established here, but it was kind of one of those things where it was popping off. People were starting to watch videos. Then that's when I came in. So I guess for me, to answer your question, success for me came, I would say, 2 years after I started. So in the first 2 years I was making content, nothing was happening. I was posting all these videos, just getting by. I was a pizza delivery driver. I was on Centrelink. I was working at childcare, and I was at uni as well. So nothing was happening. And I think when everything changed was actually when I found Facebook in 2016. There was a guy, you might know him. His name's Jackson O'Doherty, another sort of prank dude.
I don't know.
Yeah, so he hit me up and he goes, "Hey bro, I love your videos. We should collab." And this was when Facebook just allowed videos on the platform. So 2016. And I ended up jumping on as well, and I found instant, I guess, success on there. So I guess to answer your question, it was nuts, man. Like, it was insane. And I always say that when you get to a point where all these millions of people know you, but you don't know them, it completely changes your brain. And it was something that I always was aspiring to achieve, you know, being famous and rich and have all these women. And it was only that I aspired to have these things because of what society told me was success as a man. And so it's funny because when I had these things, I was partying nonstop. I'd go anywhere in Australia or Southeast Asia and just get mobbed on the street. You know, I'd be places where I'd have to get pulled out by security because it was just too wild in there. I could sort of like, you know, and I'm not saying this to boast, and I'm watching my heart when I tell my testimony, of course, but just to give you guys a picture of what my life was like. It was what every man aspires to have, essentially. You know, the DMs were flooded with girls, and I could sort of get whatever I wanted. The money was rolling in, had the car, apartment. And it was funny because I had aspired to have these things my entire life. And then I remember just this one day, like, I realized I had it all. And I'm like, but why am I still depressed? Why am I still broken? Why am I still anxious? Why do I still hate my life? Why am I still unfulfilled? And it was a moment where I was like, you know what, like, maybe there's more to life, but I can't see it. And so my life back then, man, it was just nuts. It was just nonstop, traveling the world, getting paid to travel. I had everything I wanted, and I was still broken. So
Let me go back a little bit. So you have a Chinese father. So this kind of lifestyle that you were doing, like usually, you know, Chinese father, we have Egyptian parents. So we know they like you to be really studious and study. And what did he think about you going down this path and following this content creating career?
Oh, man. So I guess growing up with a Chinese dad, it was a blessing and a curse that he wasn't living in Australia with me because my parents got divorced at 4 years old when I was 4. When he went back to China, we'd still be in touch. We'd speak on the phone every night. But he wanted me to obviously, yeah, as you said, like be a doctor or a lawyer or someone like that.
Egyptians are the same.
Exactly, right? And so I always knew in my heart that I was kind of destined to do something else rather than that. And so when I told him, like, I wanted to make videos for a living, it was actually straight after I decided to quit trying to be a professional footballer. So I was pursuing that for 9 years. And I found myself in the UK by myself for about 12 months. And when I found YouTube, I go to myself, nah, like, this is it. Like, I'm quitting soccer. I'm going to go back to Australia and just pursue YouTube. So I actually didn't even tell my dad I quit until I got back to Australia. And I remember calling my dad and I said, you know, I just want to let you know that I'm actually pursuing social media videos for a living. And I think this is the next big thing and I can see how far it's going to go and I feel like I'm just meant for this. And bro, he just went off at me for 2 hours on the phone. Like my phone was like a meter away from my ear because he was shouting, screaming. And it's for two reasons. The first reason is because, yes, he's obviously a Chinese parent. You know what sort of like ethnic parents are like. They want the best for their kids and they feel like anything besides the norm will create chaos in their lives. But the second reason is because my dad, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but he was actually a film director and an actor for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
So that was his profession. Wow. So he thought to himself that if I was to enter the entertainment industry, it'd be exactly like it was for him in China. And China, bro, 2-3 billion people now, of course it's going to be hard to succeed. And he did. He was actually one of the top 100 directors in the entire country. Oh, wow. So he was very successful. But I think having said that, he knew the intricacies and the risks of getting into that lifestyle. So he wasn't approving at all of my new career path or my new choice of direction. And so I actually, after that conversation, had to keep it from him for about 2 years. And I said to myself, you know what, like I will go to uni, I will, you know, still work, but I won't tell him I'm still pursuing this until I get somewhere and I have some proof of success. And it was actually when I got to about 15,000 followers on Facebook, I ended up telling him. I was in the car. I remember where I was. I was literally in my mum's car, sat in this street in Camaret. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Like I'm going to tell him. And I called him and I go, look, I know a few years ago I told you that I wanted to make videos and I told you I haven't been doing it and blah, blah, blah. But I have a confession. And he goes, what's a confession? And I go, look, I'll be real with you. Like, there's a side to me you don't know about. And he goes, what's the side? And I said, well, you know, I listened to your advice 2 years ago, but I've actually still been doing it. And I've got like 15,000 people that are following me now. And it was funny because he took a massive pause. And I can't see his facial expressions. I can only hear him breathing. I'm just like, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? And after about 30 seconds of just a long pause, he goes, okay, fair enough. I support you. I'm like, what? And so my dad's one of those guys that like Chinese parent, Asian strict, but he always has this weird little like twist.
The little flip, the switch.
The little flip the switch, you know? And bro, from then on, he started supporting me completely.
You reckon it's because you had 15K followers or because you kept grinding?
I think it was both, man.
Yeah.
I think he goes, you know what, my son's serious. It's been 2 years. He didn't give up, and he's proven to me that he can actually do it. Plus, I guess, back then, 15K was quite a fair bit.
Massive.
Back in 2016 or 2015. So, and then, you know, ironically speaking, he became one of my the biggest parts of my career.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's been a
It's big in
blessing.
your videos, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you feel sorry, George, did you feel that like obviously you went with your career and you became very successful, but was something in the back of your head saying I'm gonna prove my dad wrong, and no matter how big you got, you were still like, see, Dad, I told you so.
Yes.
I told you so. Like, was
Yes.
that purposeful enough for you? Would you say?
Bro, because like I'm very like self-reflective, right? And I kind of know where everything comes from, why I'm the way I am, and 100%. Because what actually happened was when my parents got divorced at 4 years old, my dad left the family and went back to China. I'm not saying he abandoned us, but what I am saying is that as a kid, I interpreted that in my kid world as I'm not good enough as a son for him to stay. So my whole life, I was chasing fame, validation, women, money to prove to him that I was good enough. So it was all about proving to my dad. So I guess once I achieved success, it was this weird feeling of like, oh, finally, like I've made it because he's, I guess, somewhat accepting of me. You know what I mean?
You finally had that. You had that. He was great. He was sort of that gratitude was there, and you felt like, okay, I've got something now from him. I've got what I've always wanted. sort of
Exactly.
feeling.
Yeah.
So what I find interesting though is even though like you achieved that goal and you were basically exactly what you wanted to be and you proved your father wrong, something was still missing, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Like, what did you feel was missing, and how'd you go about finding like what was missing?
I felt like I didn't know what I was missing. I felt like I was missing just some sort of normality. And I felt like because of what I went through, it changed me as a person to the point where I was searching for fulfillment in other places. So I didn't actually know what I was missing. I went into, therapy. I went to counseling. I went to a sports psychologist. I went to a meditation camp for sports performance from some Buddhist retreat company in Blue Mountains. I did everything, man.
Done it all.
I've done everything. I did the crystals. I did the energy healing. I did everything. And nothing worked. And so I, at the time, had no idea what I was missing. I just thought there was something literally wrong with me because
You should be happy,
traumatized.
and you should be happy, but you're not.
Yeah, exactly.
What did your mum say?
My mum, like, bro, such an amazing woman. How she raised me and everything, you know, especially as a single parent. But she was very spiritual my whole life. So she was more so like into the universe, you know, pray to the universe, manifest, and all these things. And I was kind of on board with all that. That's what led me into New Age, you could say. But she was always very like nurturing. You know what I mean? Like just motherly. I had a really great relationship, still do with my mum, but I didn't have the part with my dad that I understood how to become a man. So I was like very soft as a kid, super soft, gentle, like scared, fearful, didn't back myself. Do you know what I mean? So I never knew how to grow up as a man. I'd always avoid confrontation, fights. And yeah, obviously that wasn't good for performance on the football field either. So sort of lacking that male role model, you could say.
Okay, so what was your darkest moment? What did that look like
In my life?
in your life? Because you said you I mean, we want to touch on you were suicidal, you were demon possessed. How did we get to that? And what was that like? When you say you were suicidal, did you actually try to?
Yeah, so I guess what ended up happening was I was going through this tumultuous time, right? So obviously the soccer was lasting from the ages of 13 till about 20. Social media started kicking in from the age of 2021. And, you know, I experienced, I guess you could call social media success, where I had sort of the whole world at 24, 25 years old. So I was still very young, you know, I didn't know how to deal with it. And what actually happened was this. So I had everything, right? I had, as I said, like the attention, the women, the money, everything. And I was so unfulfilled still. And what my escape was, you know how we all have some sort of vice or stronghold, you could say. For me, it was, partying and women. So that was my thing. And so what I would do when I'd feel depressed is like, you have to think about like the situation I was in, right? I had everything that I could ever want. I could wake up whenever I wanted. I could party whenever I wanted. I could travel whenever I wanted. I could just have everything at my fingertips.
Freedom,
Yeah. And so what happens is there's no like structure in my life. There's no discipline. It was like I'd wake up whenever I want. Like there was this one weekend I went to Melbourne, and it was just nuts, bro. I was like, why is everything so like easy? And it was so depressing that it was so easy, and I just had nothing to live for. So what happened was, even though I had all this stuff, I started to find fulfillment, as I said, New Age spirituality. So I was doing this kind of like spiritual breath work with this practitioner for a long, long time, many, many years. And what it would be like you'd kind of like go into a session, and you'd like lie on this like mattress thing, and he'd kind of like get you to breathe in a certain way. And it's called breath work, but it was a spiritual type. So what you would do is you would essentially like breathe through your mouth really fast and then out, but never like hold at top or bottom. And what would happen, I don't recommend this, by the way, but I was doing this, and after a couple minutes or so, I'd feel my body tingling everywhere. And then he'd start like asking me to like go back into my childhood and just like tell him what pops up into my brain, and like what thoughts and images and all these things. And I was doing all this for years, man, like absolute years, like 5, 6, 7 years, like multiple times, maybe once a month or something. And I would find that, you know, it would sort of be effective for a few days. I'd feel better, but I'd go back to square one. And it was expensive. It was like $200 a session, $250 a session. And it was constant like healing, but like there was never an end goal. Like there was never a resolution. So that didn't work. And so then I started to do crystal stuff. So I started to go to all these crystal shops and get all the stones and charge them in the moonlight and stuff like that. And like I got like tarot cards and that sort of thing, fortune telling. I would do something called astral projecting, where I'd do this meditation where it'd be guided, and I'd like lift outside my body, and I'd just end up wherever. And the problem with this whole New Age realm is the fact that there's no morality involved. It's like, oh, this is you. Whatever your thoughts tell you is the truth. And you know how confusing that is? We have millions of thoughts, you know. As Christians, we now know to take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. But back then, there's none of that. It's like, oh, you think you're an octopus? Wow, that's beautiful. And I never thought I was an octopus, by the way. I didn't get there. But it was just so deceptive. And I never knew who I was. And so my identity was always in things that were shakeable, like my career, like my image, like my status. And what happens is you don't have the status for forever. You don't have the image forever. It eventually dies out. You know what I mean? And so I guess like leading into your question, like, yeah, I just was trying all these things, right? And it all, I guess my breaking point was when it was March 30, 2021. And I was living in Melbourne during this time. And I was living in Melbourne purely for the fact that, yeah, there was a few social media stuff going on there, but more so because I could party and it was better partying down there. And that was my escape. So what happened was this. I was seeing this girl at the time, and basically she was one of the first people I opened up to. And I was like, look, like I'm battling some stuff right now. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know why I'm depressed. I shouldn't be depressed. Do you have any advice for me? And she goes, oh, have you ever heard of something called Reiki healing? I'm like, I have heard of this. Yeah, it's like a thing where you open up the chakras, right? She goes, yeah. And she goes, I actually know a woman that's really great. She lives in Melbourne. My family and I go see her all the time. And the last thing she said about it was, she goes, she's so powerful that sometimes in the sessions, all the car alarms go off in the street. I was like, okay, that sounds good to me.
It sounds good. It sounds like a red flag to us.
Well, it was more like maybe like because I'm so broken and lost, nothing's working. There must be something wrong with me. So maybe this chick can heal me, right? And so I went to see this woman. So March 30, 2021. And what happened was, it's a really long story, man.
No, go for it.
It's a real. I'll try and like condense it as much as I can. But essentially, she did Reiki healing on me, and Reiki is essentially a form of healing through hands, like a natural therapy, where a practitioner has to be attuned, depending on what level you are, most of them have to be attuned with a spiritual higher power, a Reiki angel. And the Reiki angel essentially tells them, I guess, what to maneuver and stuff like that. Wow. And it's actually a practice that was originated in like the 1930s, I believe, by a doctor in Japan who essentially went on a hunger strike in one of the most spiritual mountains in Japan and said to the universe or whoever's there, like, I'm not going to eat until you give me these healing powers. And he got struck by a white strike of lightning. All of a sudden, he realized that he could heal with his hands. So he went around Japan and spread this whole healing modality to the world. So that's where it came from. And so people just do it in this day and age. So she was doing it on me, right? So I was lying on this mattress, and she basically, all she did was she put her two hands like this on the back of my head. Then she put one hand on my heart, and then she waved her hands around here, right? And so after the session, I kind of was like, well, like I feel weird, like almost like I was blazed, you know, and like I had done that many times before, but this was a different type. And I'm like, why do I feel so weird? And she goes, it's just the Reiki working, you know, it's beautiful. You know, you should like just stay hydrated and like that's all good. Anyways, I get home and I feel, the first thing I feel is, you know, like when you feel an emotion, like you kind of sometimes you feel like sick in the stomach, you know what I mean? For me, I felt like all of a sudden this like ball just manifested in the middle of my chest like that. Oh, wow. But man, it was like the most horrible, disgusting emotion I've ever felt in my life. Just like disgust, like depressed, frustrated, everything you can imagine. It was like something was stuck in me. Yeah. And then what happened was I noticed that every night I'd start getting these attacks. Like I'd be stabbed by something. Sort of like in the chest area, yeah. So I'd start to get like attacked here, right? And then the next thing that happened was I started hearing this voice, and it started to tell me I should kill myself. Oh, wow. So I was like, oh yeah, you know, you should kill yourself. Like you'd be better off like this, like that. Third thing that happened was the same voice started telling me that I was homosexual. It's like, oh, this is you. Like, oh, you're gay. Like, yeah, this is your new path. And bro, it was nuts. Like, with all due respect, like, I'm not, like, that's not me. Yeah. And I, you know, whatever, you can do whatever you want to do. But I was like, something's a bit off here. You know what I'm saying? And so then, anyway, I started having, like, I'd go around all day. I'd be tormented by these thoughts, these weird things happening all day long. And what would happen is when I'd, like, wouldn't want this thought or, like, these things would come at me and I'd be like, no, I don't have time for you right now. I would be attacked physically by something. So something was physically trying to punish me for not wanting all these thoughts.
Adhering,
yeah. And I was, I was walking around in so much physical pain. Like, for example, I'd have this thought, like, no. I would be literally physically stabbed by something. Like something was stabbing me and like a burning sensation was happening. And that's where I knew something was incredibly wrong. Because how can I feel physical pain from a thought, right? And I did all these tests and stuff, and I just knew there was something trying to demonically afflict me. And so it just started this whole cycle of like, what on earth did this woman do to me? Absolutely. And I had no idea. And I would ask these people and I'd ask these friends and they'd be like, never heard of it. No, Reiki's safe. You know, it's all good. I went online. No, not one person online had gone through the same thing I went through. I went to psychologists, counselors. I went to therapists. I went to doctors, everyone. They're like, we've never seen this before. We have no idea what's going on. No one. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, sure, like...
You can't be the only one in the world.
I can't be the only one in the world, right? But I was. Genuinely, I felt like I was. And it was just this whole year of just everything. Like, this was fully like my rock bottom completely. Because when everyone tells you that like whatever you're going through is in your head, it's false, you've essentially got no hope, do you? You know, like the only resolution I had was just to kill myself because I couldn't live like this anymore. And when you're going through this like every day for a year, where does it end? You know, everything went down. I stopped making videos. I stopped eating. I put on 10 kilos. Like I was just depressed. I was, you know what I mean? Like I was doing everything just to numb myself. I was still partying, but I hated myself. It was just the worst year of my entire life. And so, yeah, I kind of had like a suicide attempt because it got too much to the point where every morning I'd wake up, I'd remember what was happening. I'd feel attacked by something in the morning. I'd have like a tantrum every morning as well. I'd start like, it'd be weird because I'd wake up and I'd feel that feeling again, just that disgusting feeling. I'd start throwing things around the room, start punching the mirror. I'd message my mum saying, ha, like I'm going to die today. Like just evil. Like I wasn't myself at all. And then, yeah, man, one day it got too much and I was like, you know what, like screw this, I'm done. And I ended up going to the bottle shop, just sprinting to the bottle shop. And I got a flask of vodka, sculled it. And then I ran to this oval where I grew up in. And I just sat near the train tracks and hoped that I'd get drunk enough to just fling myself in front of a train, just end it. And yeah, that was a really dark day, man. Really dark. And I actually posted an Instagram story, like a suicide note, saying everyone take care of my mum. Something happened to me recently and I can't describe it. And I'm ending my life essentially. And it was weird. It was almost like I closed my eyes and woke up and I had, my mum was there, my best mate was there, guys from like an hour away had traveled to come find me, and then like 3 cop cars, 2 ambulances were behind me. It's like a scene of a movie. And I was so drunk, I was just crying and vomiting, and it was just a horror scene. And I went to the mental health ward of the hospital, and they go, yeah, we're going to do like a mental health assessment. And after half an hour, they go, oh no, you're all sweet, you can go home.
Wow.
What do you mean? I just try to like almost kill myself. And
That's unbelievable.
And I think for me, like, that was a turning point, because
Everything's failed you, sort of.
yeah, it was like, you know what, like, there must be something deeper going on. Like, yes, I've tried everything, but this has to be some weird spiritual thing. Nothing else tangibly can explain what's happening. And so I actually started to research, like, not just like OCD, mental health, all these things, but more so demonic attachments or evil spirits or black magic. And this website popped up, and it was of this Indian Hindu astrologer. And he basically had a website, and he was able to heal people from spiritual problems, apparently. So I give him a call. He tells me to come in the office. And essentially, he looks at me and he goes, yeah, like, you've got like some really strong demons. And although, yes, wasn't the right sort of path to go down, but the relief I felt when he told me that,
of course.
Finally, someone
Yeah,
agreed.
someone
knew something that was going on. I'm like, I'll do
confirmation.
I'll do anything to, go down this route. And he goes, yeah, like, the thing is, like, I want to help you, but it's going to cost you money. I'm like, I don't care. Take all my money if you have to. And so I gave him $1,000, and he goes, cool. Like, I'm not going to stop until you're healed. And we actually had to do a bunch of stuff. So he got me to, essentially the first thing was, he gave me this red handkerchief, right? And it had dry rice inside of it. And he twisted it like one of those Chinese bamboo things. And he goes, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to go to the beach tonight at 8 p.m. And I want you to say this Hindu prayer and throw the rice in the ocean. So I'm like, all right, cool. Did that. Whatever. And then I went back to him, and he goes, okay, second thing I want you to do is I want you to take this. He gives me like a glass jar of turmeric juice. So water with turmeric powder inside of it. And he goes, I want you to shower in this twice a day.
Like, sorry, James, I got to call something out now. Like, it's getting ridiculous. Yeah. They're asking for any amount of money. Just give me 1,000. And then I think once you've left, they go, ways to help. Like, and they're just coming up with anything. The other one made you go on the bed and started touching it for 20 minutes. Like, oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, bro, I haven't even got to the worst part.
I think it's getting, that's why I had to call it out, because I don't know
bro,
what's next.
If you're reacting like that to this, you're going to lose your mind. You're going to lose your mind in a second.
If I laugh, it's not you.
No,
So
it's
I'm
cool,
thinking
man.
of what they're coming up with.
No,
So
it's chill. Like I laugh about it even to this day. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Turmeric juice, yeah.
No, you could. So turmeric juice. The third thing he gave me was like this gold pendant, and he goes, "You've got to sleep with this. You've got to have it in your pocket at all times." And he goes, "Over the weekend, what I'm going to do is you don't have to do much. Just like, do your thing. But I'm going to be sending you positive energy to get this thing to like come out of you, essentially." And over the weekend, I just remember feeling like exactly the same, if not worse. And on Monday, I go back to him and he goes, yeah, like, I've got to tell you something. I'm like, what is it? And he goes, for the first time in 17 years, when I sent you the energy, I was praying and sending you energy for 3 hours on Friday night. You're the first person I've ever seen that the energy got rejected by your body. And I was like, fuck.
Wow.
I thought this guy had the solution, but like, now he's telling me that he also doesn't know what's going on. And he goes, but don't worry, like, we're going to solve this. What else did he get me to do? Just all these. Oh, that's right. And so he goes, okay, I found a solution. You're going to love this part. And he goes, I want you to go into your wardrobe and find a t-shirt that you don't wear very often.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And he goes, I want you to wear this t-shirt for 7 days in a row and do not take it off. You got to sleep with it on. You got to not shower, of course, but go to the gym, everything, right? I'm like, okay. And he goes, because at the end of 7 days, we're going to do a ritual and you're going to eliminate these demons. And he goes, I'm getting you to wear a t-shirt because like the clothing on your skin is the closest to your body frequency that anything else gets in touch with. So I'm going around, and it's like Melbourne, like summer, which isn't too hot anyway, so it's all right. But I'm wearing this t-shirt, those industry t-shirts?
Yeah.
Like an olive green one of them. And I'm wearing it for 7 days. And by the end of it, I go back into his office and he goes, okay, we're going to do the ritual now. So I'm like, all right, here we go. So he brings me into this prayer room next to his office, which I haven't seen before. And we go into this prayer room. And it's a room, like, it looks like spectacular. It's got all these gold Hindu gods. It's like got turmeric. It's got garlic. It's got lemons on the floor. Like it's got everything that you would expect to see in India, and just everything was there. And he goes, "All right, sit down here." And he goes, "Give me the shirt." So I gave him the shirt, and then he cuts it in half with scissors, my t-shirt, and he folds it, gives half to me, folds it, keeps half for himself. And he goes, "What we're going to do is this. I need you to basically spit into the t-shirt once." This guy's lovely.
Continue.
Not like that. Not like that. Not like that. Put a piece of your fingernail in the t-shirt.
I'll continue. Don't worry about me. I'm picturing it.
And a piece of your hair in the t-shirt.
Wow.
And he goes, "Oh, you're going to laugh again."
What about a toenail? Nothing?
Huh?
Toenail as well?
No toenail. No
Okay.
toenail. No eyebrow either.
That's probably where it stretches the more. Yeah, continue.
And then he goes, ready for this one. He goes, "What I want you to do is I want you to have this t-shirt in your hands with these things inside of the t-shirt, and I want you to blow the t-shirt."
What does that mean? Sorry.
No, it's me.
Blow the t-shirt?
Gently. But like, and he goes, "I want you to do this with the intention of like, get these things out of me."
Okay.
So apparently this ritual will summon them and get them out of me, right? And he goes, "While you do that, I'm going to be over here waving this orange scarf around and like praying essentially." So I'm like, "All right." So the process starts. He goes, 3, 2, 1, let's go. So I've got this freaking t-shirt fingernail hair spit in my hand. And I'm just like literally like this, like that for minutes, a couple of minutes. And in my head, I'm like, this guy is like, he's lost the plot. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm already thinking of who I'm going to go to next.
Yeah.
And after a couple of minutes, I'm like doing it. And while I'm doing this, he's over here in the corner with this orange scarf, chanting in Indian to like Vishnu, all the Indian Hindu gods, Krishna, I forgot what their names are, Shiva, Buddha, Allah, Jesus, everyone. He's going hard with everyone.
Oh, he's got everyone involved.
He's got everyone. He's having a party, this guy.
It's been 3 weeks. He has to figure out something.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, he's a nut job. And so anyway, so after a couple of minutes, he goes, "Stop." I'm like, "All right, what is it?" He goes, "It's not working." I'm like, "Of course it's not. Of course it's not working. Not because of the ritual, but because it's me. Like, I'm just cursed." He's like, "But I'm not going to give up. I want you to do this one more time, but I want you to actually believe it's going to work. So have faith it's going to work." I'm like, "All right, fine." So I'm like, "All right, here we go." So I've got my t-shirt, fingernail, hair spit in my hand. And I'm like, "You know what? Let's actually try this thing." So he starts the timer almost. And I'm like, "All right." So my brain is saying, "Get these things out of me, get these things out of me, get these things out of me," as I'm blowing on this t-shirt. And so a minute goes past, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Bro, all of a sudden, I kid you not, just remember what I've got in my hand. I've got nothing. Just the t-shirt and just some weird follicles from my body. As he's doing his chant, all of a sudden, I'm like, I've got this thing in my head. I'm like, blowing gently on it. All of a sudden, the bottom right corner of my t-shirt starts lighting on fire. Like a tss. And I'm like, what the? And I'm like, look what's happening. And he goes, "There it is." And the guy freaking Ian Thorpe's onto my t-shirt. Literally, he dives onto it. And then I'm witnessing this guy on the ground with my t-shirt, and the t-shirt's flinging him around the room.
What?
Like this. Like he's being flung around the room with this by my t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm slapping myself. I'm like, this isn't real. And he goes, "Get me the jar." And I get him this glass jar that was in the room, and he's trying to put the t-shirt in the jar like this, like put it in the jar, but he can't. Like it's flinging him and everything. And he's literally wrestling with this t-shirt on the ground, like a footy player. And then all of a sudden he screams like in pain, and he flips his arm over, and I literally with my own eyes see this black burn mark, like if you've burnt someone with a cigarette on his forearm. And he goes, "It bit me." I'm like, what is going on? And then I see him swearing and like spitting on this t-shirt. Everything's going on. Like it's all happening.
You've really been through it, man. Wow.
It's all happening.
I've been through it listening to this. I don't know what's
I'm
going
on
on.
the journey. This is unbelievable.
It's nuts. And I'm like,
I can't believe
this
this stuff actually happens.
It's real, yeah. And just remember as well to all the skeptics out there that I was a skeptic. I did not believe in any of this. And the t-shirt that I was holding lit up on fire. He wasn't doing anything with my t-shirt. It was on me, in my hands. So this was full-blown witchcraft. And so at this point, I'm like, this isn't real. And he goes, get out of my office. It's too dangerous in here for you. And then I go outside and I'm like huffing and puffing. I'm like, what on earth have I just witnessed? And he comes out and he's panting. He's like, it's almost like he's gone for a marathon. He's like, come into my office real quick. And so we go into his office and he's like, in the last 17 years, I've never seen such a foul demonic spirit in anyone as I have in you. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, look, I'll be real. Like, I was happy he said this because I'm like, finally someone knows the answer. He goes, I know what to do. I know exactly what to do. You've got 3 demons. I can smell them. It's disgusting. They bit me. Blah, 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 blah. Like, he was just going off. And he goes, I know what to do. He goes, we have to do another exorcism in a few days' time because now they know that you know what's happening. And we have to act fast because if we don't, they're going to kill you. That's what he said to me.
So the demon didn't come out of you? What came out?
A small one, apparently. That's what he said.
And the 2 others stayed in there.
Yeah.
So is this getting...
Any questions, please?
Yeah, so is this getting, like, because obviously this is not anything Christian yet, so is this making things worse? Is what you're doing with this guy actually more witchcraft and opening the door even more to more demons?
Correct.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time, though.
Yeah.
Did he look
Yes.
like someone who'd follow witchcraft, or he just looked like
No.
a regular schmo?
Looks like a Buddha. Like, he was
Yeah.
fat. He was, like, cute. You know what I mean? You could rub his tummy for good luck. No. Yeah, well, I didn't know at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, 100%, bro. I opened many doors.
Yeah.
And this is the catch, right?
Please.
So
continue,
we were going to his office and he's freaking out. He's like, we've got to act fast. I'm like, what do I do? Because I've witnessed it now. I can't deny what I've witnessed. He goes, what we have to do is this. In a couple of days' time, you got to come back here. We have to do another exorcism. But this time, you've got to be protected. I go, what does that mean? And he said to me, we have to basically make 2 Hindu statues, weld 2 Hindu statues with the 5 elements of the earth contained in the statue. So gold, silver, copper, iron, and bronze. And he goes, we need 200 grams of every material to weld into these statues for you to be protected. Because if you're not protected and we do this again, in these words, he goes, the demons will essentially burn your throat and your tongue from the inside out.
Wow.
I'm like, look, I've seen it all, like, whatever. How do we do it? He goes, look, like, we're going to have to get these materials somehow, like, source them. And he goes, I can help you with everything besides the gold. I'm like, what do you mean gold? He's like, you need to get 200 grams of gold to put into these statues so you're protected. Because without every material, you're not going to be protected. I'm like, look, bro, like, whatever, take my money. I don't care at this point. And he goes, I don't know where you get it from. Maybe go home, find some, like, if you have any at home, but I'll get everything else sorted for you. And hurry, like, make it quick because you have to, like, come back into my office, give me the gold, and I'll get them welded straight away. And so I'm about to walk out, right? And he goes to me, by the way, before you leave, listen to this. And so he opens up the room, the prayer room that we were just in, and he opens it. And you know when you've got, like, a faulty TV? It, like, buzzes. It's like a zzz, like one of those sounds. He opens a door, and all I hear is, like, a zzz from the room. And I go, what's that noise? And he goes, that's the spirit that was in you dying in the jar. I'm like, what the heck, bro? And he goes, but I've got to get you to actually take the spirit with you and dispose of it somewhere, like, away from people. So I'm like, okay. So he gives me this plastic bag with this jar and my spirit in there, apparently. And I get in my car. I've got this passenger with me. I put the seatbelt on it as well. But I'm freaking out because I'm like, the devil must be real now. Like, he's gonna strike me because I've got this spirit. I didn't know what was. I knew nothing about this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I drive to, like, the Windsor equivalent of Melbourne, like out in the sticks, and I find a bin and I just dump it in there and I just leave. Anyways, then he calls me an hour later and he goes, I've got to tell you something. I'm like, far out, bro. This guy's just
What
like
now?
the bearer, Santa Claus of bad news.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is it? And he goes, I had 2 clients in after you and they both started telling me that they heard, like, crying and screaming noises coming from the room that we were just in. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, all right, let me get you the gold. So I go online, right? And I'm like, 200 grams of gold. I have no idea about this stuff. And it actually ended up being $17,000 for 200 grams. And look, man, like, he got me, you know. When you've seen everything, when you've seen something happen with your own eyes to me, he didn't of course he provoked it indirectly, but you know, it was like
It's all you
something
had
for you to
It's all-
believe.
yeah,
like,
it's all you
Yeah.
had to
well,
go
I've
on.
seen it. Yeah.
yeah, I'll do anything to, you know, I was on the verge of death at this
Yeah.
point with the last year. I'm like, money means nothing, you know, like in comparison to my life. So I'm
Exactly.
like, I'll get it. So I went to this. It was funny because I called my mate because my mate's dad owns a jewelry store, and I go, bro, do you know where to find gold in Australia? Like, where's a good place in Melbourne? Does your dad know? And he goes, oh, that's a weird question, but sure, I'll ask him. And he asked his dad, and his dad's like, I'll go here. So I went to this place in Swanson Street in Melbourne, and I got it. Went back to the guy's clinic, the Indian guy's clinic, and I gave it to him. And he's like, thank you. And he did like this weird prayer over it. And he goes, cool, I'm going to get this made up for you. But that weekend was Melbourne Cup weekend. So everything was kind of like shut for the public holiday. So it took a few days longer. And anyways, a few days after I dropped off the gold, he goes, cool, like tomorrow we're going to do the ritual. And I'm like, all right, so what do we do? He goes, I can't tell you because then the demons will know what we're going to do. But essentially tomorrow I'm going to message you mid-morning and I'm going to tell you what time to come in and what to bring with you. I'm like, all right. So this day comes around and I think I'm going to die. Like, I think, like, I've seen the devil's face, you know what I mean? And I knew nothing about this stuff. And so I remember he messages me. I was at St. Kilda Beach just like chilling, trying to meditate or whatever. And I get a message from him and he goes, all right, what I need you to do is come at 5 p.m., but I need you to go buy some stuff first. I need you to wear all white clothing today, white t-shirt, white shorts. I need you to go to Coles and get lemons, limes, and do you know those Alkalife big bottles, 1.52 liters? He goes, 8 of them. He goes, I need you to go to a florist and buy a bunch of red and yellow flowers. And I needed to buy like some of those glass cylinder jars that he had before. So I'm like, all right, say less, I'll do it. And so I went to Richmond, Victoria Gardens, Coles, and I just bought this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what this is for, but sure. So anyway, I start driving to his clinic. And I'm just thinking, like, I'm literally reflecting on my life, like I'm about to be like executed for something. Like it's over now, like I'm done. And I'm like getting all emotional. It's like, what's my mum gonna do? You know, like she's a single parent. Like I got to support her somehow. I'm gonna be dead after this thing. Like I
You were driving to your death.
I was driving to my death. Yeah. And I get there, and something I forgot to mention as well. Sorry, was that after I did the first ritual, the attacks got worse. Way worse. But there was one night I was trying to sleep. I was up for 6 hours. My housemate was with me. I thought I was going to die because I was being stabbed so much in the heart. Went to hospital, and I actually said to my mum, like I'm dying. Like goodbye. You know what I mean? Anyway, so I rock up to this clinic, and as I'm walking from my car to this clinic, I'm getting stabbed in the heart again. Like the demons were coming at me even harder. And I remember getting there, and I've got all this stuff with me, and he goes, all right, you ready? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. So I went into the room again. And this time, he basically said to me, we're going to do same, but different. He showed me the statues, the 2 gold statues, and he goes, put them in your pocket so you're protected. I'm like, all right. And it was a statue with like my full name, date of birth, and some Hindu language thingy on it as well. So I put them in my pocket. And he says to me, what I want you to do now is I want you to have these spices. So he gives me like a bowl of like, I don't know what it was, like cardamom or something, like these Indian spices. And I eat them, and it feels like it hits that spot where that ball was. I'm like, all right, must be effective. And then he goes, what I want you to do is with the jar, I want you to make it like not transparent. So like put your breath in it kind of thing. So it's like murky. So I did that. And then he goes, I want you to put the fingernail hair spit in the jar this time. I'm like, all right, so I did that. You know, standard procedure. And then he goes, the process today is that you're protected and we're going to get these demons out of you. But what you have to do is you have to scull as much water as you can until you want to vomit. And when you're about to vomit, you need to like go over the jar and vomit into the jar. And once you vomited, they're all going to be out. You got to close the jar. But then when you hear a screaming and crying noise, give me the jar. That was the instructions. So I'm like, all right. So I'm there. Like, I'm not skeptical no more. I'm like, this is actually legit because I've seen it. So I'm sculling this Alkalife water, like sculling it. And these bottles are huge, right?
Yeah, big ones.
Big ones, yeah. And I'm probably like 2.5 down and I'm like, I'm going to vomit. He's like, all right, you ready? I'm like, I'm ready. So I, crouch over, got my jar in front of me. And I don't know, like all I remember was like, I just let out this vomit. I don't know what came out. I'm sure water came out. And all of a sudden, like, I don't know, I heard some noise from it. So I'm like, all right, I'll close it, give it to the guy. And just wait till you hear this. So, jar, fingernail, hair, spit, bit of my breath in there, and a bit of water vomit, right? To be graphic. So I vomit into this thing. I close the lid. All I do is I pass this jar to the guy, and he receives it like this. Bro, the moment the jar touches his palm, right? It's crazy. A flame comes in the jar, like appears in the jar on the bottom of it, and then breaks the jar from the inside up.
Wow.
Like a flame appears in the jar and breaks it. And I'm like, what is, like, I'm in a horror movie
What
at
do you
this
have?
point. I just don't know what to do. And then the same thing happens. He's on the ground with it,
Wrestling.
throwing him around, wrestling the jar. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And he's swearing at it and all these things. And he goes, go into my office and get me the Indian statue. I'm like, which one? He's got like millions. I'm like, he's like, this one. I'm like, all right. So I go in his office. I'm freaking running. And I get back. I'm like, here it is. He's like, and this guy's on the floor, like he's dying. And he's like, that's the wrong one. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I don't know these Indian gods. And so I go back and I get another one. He's like, that's fine. And so this guy's like, he's trying to pour water in the jar to light the flame out. Bro, it's a literal horror movie in front of my eyes. And then he screams in pain again, and he turns his arm, but now it's like I see red scratch marks everywhere. It's not the black burn; it's like red scratch marks. Wow. And it was just a horror movie again. And so he goes, "Get out! It's too dangerous in here for you." He's swearing at it. He's doing everything. So I go outside. Finally, I go into his office after this big exorcism. I think I'm clear. And he takes my pulse, looks around my body. He's like, "You're healed." I'm like, "Okay, like I'm sweet now." He's like, yeah, you're done. Like, you're healed. I'm like, all right, thanks. See you later.
That was it, huh?
And so I went, and I had to pick up a friend from, like, because one of my mates was on Love Island back then, so we all used to watch her, have like a group gathering every night. So I had to go pick up my mate from this little gathering. And I'm feeling like, I don't know, it's placebo obviously, but I was feeling good. I was like, oh yeah, I'm healed, cool. And then I get home, and all of a sudden, I feel like I need to vomit. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. Sorry. After the ritual, we didn't just say goodbye. Sorry. He said to me, now what we have to do is to make sure you're protected for the rest of your life. We have to go and find deep water near a beach and throw the statues in the ocean so that you're protected for the rest of your life. So I had to drive this guy to St. Kilda Beach. We walked around the pier for an hour trying to find deep enough water. Couldn't find it. Then we went to another beach called Altona. And then he goes, yeah, it's deep enough. So we spent 2.5 hours finding deep water to throw these statues in there. And we did a prayer and then chucked the gold in the ocean.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so then, obviously went to see my friend, got home, felt sick. I'm like, oh, that's not good. Because, like, what if there's still demons in there? I haven't got the statues anymore. I'm going to die. And I call him. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, oh, yeah, not sure. I'll get back to you on Monday. Like 3 days away. I'm like, screw this guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is kind of part of the story where Jesus comes in and saves me. So during this period, a few nights before, you remember how I told you I was getting attacked really badly at night?
Yeah.
And that night there was the 6-hour attack, really bad. I kind of knew at that point, I'm like, all right, I've got this exorcism in a few days. I'm going to do it. But I'm like, I know this is spiritual. This is fully demonic and fully spiritual. There's nothing else to it. And so when I was getting attacked that night, I actually started typing in different words on like YouTube and Google. I'm like, how to stop spiritual attacks at night. And there was this one video that came up. And this lady, she goes, hey, like, I'm very experienced in this world. I want you to try something. And she said, I want you to go to the App Store and download an app. I'm like, okay, what's this app all about? Like some, I don't know, like Ghost Hunter app or something. And she goes, the app's actually called the Bible. I'm like, oh, here we go. Like these freaking Christians trying to convert me. Like, I didn't know why I hated Christians. No idea.
Actually, that's what I was going to ask. So, growing up, what was your view of Christianity? Like, did you have any view, or were you very against it? What was the?
You've heard a million times before. Like, I went to a Catholic school. Didn't like religion classes. Went to mass, was disrespectful. I don't know, man. I was just never exposed to it, and I thought they were just lunatics. I just remember seeing that Borat movie when he goes into that Pentecostal church and they're all going crazy. And this kind of relates to my story later, by the way. That movie, funnily enough. yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I just used to hate street preachers. I used to hate hearing Jesus. I know why now. But back then I just hated it, you know. Even to the point where I had a Christian friend and I used to literally blaspheme the absolute heck out of Jesus' name in front of him, and I thought it was funny. I'd say like Jesus Christ, Jesus effing Christ. Like, I'd say the whole thing, man. It was really bad. I had no respect, but I didn't know why. I had no idea. That's all I remember. And I think the devil is so good at suppressing like the truth from you when you're caught in bondage that you don't even know. Like, that's why when I see unbelievers and they hate preachers or whatever it is, I get it, bro, because you're literally blinded. You don't know why you're like that. You don't know why you hate the name of Jesus so much. So yeah, that's kind of how I grew up. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I downloaded the Bible, and I'm so skeptical. I'm like, oh, you know, like, I just didn't like it. And she goes, just all I want you to do is play it out loud and rest your head on the pillow and see what happens. I'm like, oh, here we go. And just remember, I've been up for 6 hours. The TV's freaking flickering on and off. All this weird stuff's happening. I'm getting stabbed in the heart. My friend thinks I'm dying. My mum thinks I'm dying. And the most miraculous thing was that the moment I put the Bible app on and I rested my head on the pillow, it was the next day.
Wow.
And I wake up and I'm like, to my housemate, I'm like, what just happened? She goes, you would never believe this. I'm like, what? She goes, the moment the Bible started to play, you fell asleep.
Wow.
I'm like, what? Wow. I didn't understand it. And so then in my mind, I was like, all right, there must be something to this Christian thing. But let me do this last exorcism first. If it doesn't work, I'm going to Jesus. Yeah, I don't know if you have questions, but that's sort of the next part.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm getting to now.
Such a good
yeah.
storyteller, bro. I feel like I just watched a movie.
I was on a journey.
I pictured everything in my head right now. That's why I kept laughing.
It's unbelievable because like you were in such a state of despair and like, yeah.
He tried every solution.
Yeah, it was
and
the
it's
last stop.
And
was
that's
Jesus.
like God's plan, because it's like you can see everything. Try whatever you want, but I'm the ultimate answer. And it took you having to see everything else, experience so much just to get to that answer.
Amen. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amen.
It was nuts, man. Like, I had to see the world before I knew the truth, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously part of your testimony. So God showed you all this so you can tell everyone, you know, everyone that's in that position, you know, and trying these things, they know that it's all to no effect.
Yep.
So Jesus got in the picture. So what was the next step?
Yeah. So I just knew from that experience, like, there was something powerful about the Bible. I didn't know what it was. And it was about I don't know if it was a few days later. I had this housemate. When I refer to my housemate, her name's Connie, great friend of mine, and she basically had to mother me the entire year, and just take care of me and watch me. Like, the whole year was just so messy. It was like my mum was in a group chat with all my friends without me being in it, just to monitor me. And so Connie was incredible. She used to try and distract me all the time. She used to try and just get my mind off things. She was obviously searching for answers herself. And there was one day where she invited me to this dinner, this Korean barbecue dinner, just at someone's house. And she goes, oh, hey, like, you know, someone just pulled out of this dinner. Do you want to just replace them? I'm like, sure. Like, I've got nothing better to do, you know. And I rock up to this apartment in Melbourne in South Bank. And there's just these people I haven't met before at the table talking about stuff. And weirdly enough, I just started telling them about what I've been going through. I don't know why. I think something was provoked for me to respond that way. And at the end of it, they go, man, like, I don't know if you know who Jesus is. I'm like, no, not really. But there was something weird that happened recently with the Bible. And they go, you know, we'd love to take you to church if you're open to it. I'm like, sure, you know. I'm like, sure, like, what do I have to lose? Something happened. You know, I don't really know what this whole Christian thing is about, but I'm open to it. And so what happened was a couple of days later, they take me to church. And obviously, having been to like a Catholic school, I'm expecting like an ancient sort of building, cathedral of some sort. And I remember it was two of the guys from dinner, Andy and Pauline, and Connie, my friend. They all took me to church. And I literally remember the walk there. I was walking down, was it City Road in South Bank, for those guys in Melbourne that understand it. And I'm walking. I'm like, I don't see a church around here. And then they lead me into like this building. I'm like, huh? Like, where am I going? And I just remember entering the foyer, and there's all these people that are just so happy. Hey, welcome. I'm like, what's wrong with you people?
What's going on here?
Yeah. And so I'm like walking in, and this moment I'm about to describe was probably the most powerful moment in my entire life, like that I can ever think of. And so what happened was I walk in, and as I get past the foyer, these huge auditorium doors open, like you're walking into like a conference center.
Mm.
And I'm so confused. I'm like, I thought these guys would take me to church.
Yeah.
And I just remember, bro, like I literally, like the doors open
Mm.
and I sort of smell the arena, and I walk 2 steps in, and I literally, with my hand on my heart, God's my witness, I get struck by something. Like a spiritual presence just comes, indwells, like just comes in me.
Like, was it physical? Did people see something drop, or you
No, I felt it.
immediately felt it
I
inside?
immediately felt it in my soul. Something just like entered my soul. And all of a sudden, I start hearing this voice, audible voice. And it says 3 things to me. It says, this is where you belong. These are your people. And this is where you're going to get healed. And I just start crying, bro. I don't know what's going on. I start weeping. And then, how this relates to Borat, is that all of a sudden, I had a flashback to that scene in Borat where he goes into the Pentecostal church and there's all these people speaking in tongues, running around, like going crazy. And it was literally in that moment, I understood it.
Wow.
I'm like, I get it. My soul, like, I understand why these people are like this. I just got it in that moment. Bro, I'm even getting freaking goosebumps now saying it.
Wow.
And I'm just crying. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. And so I get ushered to my seat, and I'm just weeping, bro. I don't know what's going on. I just have no idea what's happening. But I just know I found God. Like I've met God face to face. I don't know what it meant. I don't know what it was. And so at the end they said, if you are someone in the audience that want to either recommit their life or commit their life to Jesus, come to the front. I put my hand straight up. Went to the front. Everyone clapped. It wasn't just me. It was a few people, obviously. And then I got ushered into the back where we did kind of like a faith explain sort of thing where they told me about the decision I just made. And I just did not know what just happened. I have no idea. And it was in that moment, just everything changed, man. Like everything changed. Of course, I'm not going to say I was completely healed on the spot. It was a process, but the healing had started. Like I knew I'd found the truth. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I had literally encountered the Lord, like in that moment. And then, funnily enough, I ended up getting COVID straight after that, like literally right after. And so I had to isolate. I didn't get the vaccine or nothing, but I had to like isolate, for 10 days in Melbourne. And I just remember being like, all right, I've found the truth. And so I start going on YouTube, and I start typing in like now different keywords like Jesus, God, demons, like all these things. And I find these 3 videos of these 3 people that have said, hey, like I used to be into Reiki healing, New Age, crystals, and I got demonically possessed. And the only way I got out of it was through deliverance through Jesus Christ. They all said the same thing. I'm like, this is the answer. And so then I type in on Google like Christian Deliverance Melbourne, because I was living there during the time. And I find this man called Pastor Joseph from a ministry called Divine Intercession. And it's a deliverance ministry. And he literally like doesn't get paid for it, but that's his calling. He I know Catholics and I think Orthodox call it exorcist. Same thing really. But this is all he does. He casts out demons from people. And I call him. I email him. I'm like, hey, I need some help. And when I got out of the isolation, bro, in isolation, I was copying it as well. Like they started to really churn, like ramp it up.
Yeah, because they knew what was coming.
Yeah. In fact, it was the only time in my life I can confidently, I think confidently say I saw a demon, like physically.
Oh, wow.
I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I did. But I started hearing voices like, kill yourself, hurry up, kill yourself. And I remember just like sometimes just start like, I'd be in the living room, my housemate would walk out and I'm just crying because I'm just hearing these voices again. Anyway, so
But at least you had hope this time. You were just waiting for those. It's funny because you're taking that step. What I love, let me just pause for a sec. What I love about the story is as soon as you took that step towards Christ, as soon as those doors open, like Christ really came to you. That's what I love about it. Like you don't really need to, like you didn't really do much. You just faced towards Christ. You just walked towards him and he came running to you straight away, which I think is beautiful. But then it's funny because we always see this in our spiritual lives ourselves. Like as soon as you take a step towards God, the devil doesn't want that to happen.
Oh.
So 100% that COVID came to stop you from that, momentum that you were having.
100%.
But it was good that you stayed on track because I think they got desperate and they were like, all right, we got to stop him because we know what's coming.
Dude, it was 100%. It was really intense in that 10 days. Really intense, and the voices got so much louder, man. Like so bad. Like. Incredibly loud, but I just knew, like once you encounter God, Holy Spirit, you just know. You can't even explain it. I had no idea about anything. I just knew that I'd found the truth. And yeah, like I jumped on a call with Pastor Joseph a couple of days later, I think it was. I was actually outside this clinic trying to get a fake vaccine certificate. I was in my car just waiting, and I jumped on a call with him and on Zoom only. And it was interesting because now I had hope. I wouldn't say I'd been healed, of course, but I would say the work started, the progress had started. And I just remember it was really interesting because I jumped on a call with him and I told him everything. And at the end of the call, he goes, okay, I'm going to have to think about this for a bit. I'll get back to you in a few days. And I remember about 48 hours after this call, once again, Zoom call, nothing happened, did absolutely nothing different. And I just remember 2 days later, I woke up one morning and it was like I opened my eyes and it was like, I just knew that I'd been like 50% healed. I didn't know how I knew, but I just felt better.
Like less burdened. Yeah.
Completely like something had completely... The pain...
like on and off.
On and
not
off.
as much anymore.
Yeah,
It wasn't even... Yeah. I wouldn't... The pain was kind of on and off, I would say, at that point. But more so... It was like the presence I felt was shifted completely. Like I felt so light again. And it was like I woke up from a coma. It was like, what year is it? Like, what have I been doing? Where's my money? Like, where's my my finances, my career? Like, what's going on? It was like this veil had been lifted, you could say.
Yeah.
And I always say like I felt 50% healed. And I just did not know what happened.
Wow.
So then next day, jump on a call with Pastor Joseph again. He goes, how you been? I'm like, Pastor Joseph, like, I got to tell you something. About 2 days after our call, I woke up and I just feel like I'm 50% healed.
Must have been praying for you.
And he has this cheeky smile on his face. I'm like, what's so funny? He's like, well, Jamie, he's like, do you know why you feel like that? And I go, no. He's like, because my team and I have been praying for you. I'm like, excuse me, you've been clapping your hands and saying some chant. Well, what does that mean? He's like, prayer, like that's the power of prayer. Bro, my mind was blown, completely blown.
Wow.
And no $1,000 charge either. So.
No, $0.
Yeah.
He doesn't charge. And yeah, man, so it was just a really like beautiful transformation, you could call it. He told me that I had to do like a 7-day self-deliverance regime, you could call it. So what I did was I flew back to Sydney because I was always back and forth from Melbourne, Sydney. I flew back to Sydney, got an Airbnb for a week and just focused on this 7-day self-deliverance. And what it was basically a new theme every day for 7 days. So the first day was repentance. Second day was like generational curses. Third day was like breaking soul ties. And I had to do this prayer 3 times a day. But I had to be in like a steady environment, right? So that's why I came back to Sydney. And I just remember like every day I'd do these things and I'd just be praying all the time and just start understanding who God was. And through this self-deliverance, I'd be breaking like generational curses, all these soul ties I had, repenting for things I did. I didn't know what that meant, but I learnt it all. And then, yeah, that was another level of healing. And then I ended up going down to see him in person for the first time. And we did some like in-person deliverance, which was insane, like nuts. Like that's another long story. But I had all these demons manifest. We cast them out. I was saying words I had no idea what they meant, but they related to spirits in the Bible. He told me like it's so important for you now that you change your lifestyle. You can't go back to the things you were involved in before. And so I just made a vow that I was going to be celibate till marriage, and I cut everyone off. I wasn't perfect for the first 2 months, but after about 2 months, I stopped everything, and stopped drinking, and then it was like everything was like in layers, you know. Then I stopped swearing, and then I stopped doing this, and it's just been like an incredible journey. And I guess to tie it all off, the story, you could say, what you asked me at the beginning was like, what was I missing, right? And I can honestly tell you right now, like face to face, that I was missing Jesus, bro. Like that's all I was missing. The fulfillment, the validation,
The purpose.
the lack of purpose I had was all replaced by Jesus. And since then, I don't have any of these problems anymore. Depression, anxiety. I had chronic OCD as well my whole life, gone. And it was all because I met God, you know, like I encountered the living God. And yeah, man, it's been 4 years almost. I've been completely celibate, and waiting for marriage, obviously. And I don't really drink anymore. I don't, you know, I'm trying to really just live like a proper Christian life. So, yeah.
That's incredible. Wow.
You got to go be a director like your dad. Honestly, that was incredible storytelling. Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
So on that point, when the demons came out, like eventually they came out,
Yep.
what was that experience like? Did something physically come out, or?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Could you describe that?
Yeah. So it's weird, man. It's really weird because it's almost like you're a backseat driver. So I knew what was happening. So essentially, what happens is this. You know, for example, in my case, I went to this room with Pastor Joseph, and he would anoint me, and he would just start like he'd place his hand on my head. He'd start praying, and then you just basically like I just start twitching everywhere. Like my shoulder would start twitching. I'd start like doing these ones. I'd start like roaring. I'd start speaking in like weird languages. Start shaking my head like no, like swearing at him.
While he was praying for you?
Yep.
And it wasn't you though.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
But you were there and you could feel it all happening,
But
and you could see it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was there. Like I was like, what?
Like
the
an
heck's
observer
happening?
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like a backseat driver.
Yeah.
But I just let it happen because I knew there was. I don't know. It's just weird. You just know what's going on because it's inside of you, you know. And so I was just everything. I've probably done 35 hours of deliverance all up in the last 4 years. It's been a lot, and I think because people have different degrees of spiritual affliction, and I think from my lifestyle I was living through the partying, the promiscuity, all the soul ties I had, plus all the new age spirituality I was doing, all the crystals, witchcraft, plus all the stuff with the Hindu healer, plus what my family was involved in through generations. Bro, I was just a walking billboard of demonic oppression, you could say. So for me, it actually took me quite some time to get rid of everything. It was not, some things were instant, like the OCD and the depression and stuff was instant straight away. But some things took like a few years. And I think God allowed me to have like a journey with the whole thing, because if I got healed, he sort of knew that I'd probably just maybe go back. Yeah. So I don't want to say I was punished through it taking so long, but it was really worthwhile. And so yeah, I guess with deliverance, you know, like the pastor can command a certain demon to manifest in Jesus' name, and because in the spiritual realm it's so legal, it's like in this world we have laws, right? We know we can't go rob a bank, but people still do. But in the spiritual realm, demons cannot enter someone unless they've given an open door. Like they cannot, because that's just how it works. And they always have to bow to the name of Jesus. So sometimes I'd be in deliverance and, you know, the minister would say like, you must respond in the name of Jesus and ask questions, and like, not me, but the demon would be like, no, like, no. And then he'd be like, well, what would Jesus, like, what if Jesus, who do you think Jesus is? It's like, no, he's too powerful, stop. And like, you'd put the Bible on my head and it'd start going crazy, like, stop, it's too hot. Like, bro, everything is responded by the name of Jesus. It's nuts when you see how much authority that name has in the spiritual world. So yeah, it's a mixture of like vomiting, screaming, like just, I was slithering like a snake, shouting. People sometimes levitate, I've heard as well. I know a girl who had supernatural strength.
I heard a story about like that last episode from
Yeah.
Father Bishoy when he was talking to us about a demon. She lifted him.
The whole chair with two people on
Yeah,
it.
two people. She lifted him up
With
a
one
couch
arm.
With one
and
arm.
Then, and then
It was
started,
a little girl.
started like curling it,
little
yeah.
girl.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Wow.
It is so incredibly real. Yeah, I was saying names I didn't know about. and it's just nuts. Like it just opens you up to the reality of the world we live in. It is so crazy. And people might say to you like, oh yeah, but it doesn't exist because you can't see it. I can't see the phone reception connect to the tower when I make a phone call.
Yeah.
Does it exist? Yes. Like there's things that do exist that we can't see. And so yeah, man, it was just like a combination of everything. And I think for me, because the devil knows that God's essentially calling me to share my testimony and really be somewhat of like a story of hope for many out there that are going through similar things that I went through or whatever. And the devil hates that. So I'm super sensitive. I cop it, bro, if I open any doors. I really do. I am covered by the blood, of course. I'm not saying that Christians can get possessed or anything because I have the Holy Spirit. But I'm very sensitive, man, like extremely. So I think it's a blessing, honestly.
I got a question for you. After you felt free from all that those attacks, and you said in stages everything gradually got better. Once because I often struggle with this, where I'll pray to God to remove a sin out of my life, and then once it's removed, I'll be like, oh, thank you, God, and it'll be like a transactional thing, and then I'll go back to my old ways.
Yeah.
Did you feel as though after this had finally been taken off you, you sort of wanted to go back to being the old Jamie in a sense, where, all right, I'm good now. Where are the girls? Where's the money? Let me go back to being the man. Like, what was that struggle like, if there was any?
Of course, man. I think there's like a spiritual struggle, but there's always like a habitual struggle as well.
Definitely.
I think my brain was so wired to just sin my whole life. So I think for me, because I was really corrupted in many areas, like especially, like obviously all the thoughts and like, the physical stuff and like the sexual stuff. So I was always kind of like in that process of sanctification, like, am I normal again? Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that wasn't a great thing with, say, lust, because I'm always like, oh, well, am I back to normal? And my mates would make jokes like, haha, you're like damaged, bro. Like, you're never going to feel this ever again kind of thing. And I'll be real. When I was going through deliverance, I had zero libido for years, actually. Years. I did not feel tempted at all. But my brain told me that was weird. So I was constantly trying to prove to myself that I'm normal by lusting. So, yeah, it's almost like your body, my pastor likes to say, like, your body's sort of been healed, but your mind's catching up. And it's a weird process. So yeah, it was, I think that, there was temptation to go back, and, I'm just glad I've maintained, a celibacy, you could call it, abstinence, whatever, until now, because I feel like there have been many times where that almost got ruined, and, there's always temptation out there, you could say.
The devil works triple overtime sometimes. That's how it works.
Oh, yeah, bro. Especially after I got delivered. Oh, man. I had this, I'm not going to say it on camera, but I had this crazy, insane Tuesday night scenario that would never happen. There was just a genuine devil trap after I got delivered from something. Nuts.
You mentioned before we started the interview that there was a healing that took place about a month ago. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I made a video about this actually recently. The devil attacks your biggest gifts, right? So what God's, I guess, calls you into, the devil will attack. So for me, basically what was happening was after I sort of, found the Lord and then started deliverance, about 3-4 months later, I started to get these really, really chronic migraines, really bad. And I've never had headaches in my entire life. And so I haven't really spoken about this on camera, but I'm happy to do so tonight. So what would happen was I would notice that my headaches were always triggered by my phone. Whenever I would use my phone, I'd get this chronic headache, which was very weird for me. And they talk about health effects of radiation, that sort of thing. I've always known that, whatever. But it was really bad, like chronic, to the point where I didn't want to use it anymore. And so basically I was going like a couple of years, man, just suffering from it. No one knew what was going on. I'd have all the tests and everything was sweet. And I was like, I reckon this is spiritual, because the devil knows that my impact is through social media, which I need my phone for. And it kept me off it for a good amount of time. Anyway, so what happened was, I basically was just going through this, and this lasted all of 2022, all of 2023, all of 2024. Right. So 3 years. And no one knew the solution. I could still, do things and get by. But last year, what ended up happening was they got worse in stages. So for 2 years, they were quite, under control, you could say. But in August last year, 2024, I ended up getting really painful headaches now. It progressed a little bit. And I'm like, oh, it sounds physical, doesn't it? Because they're migraines, whatever. And then I went to the US in November, came back, and it got another level worse, where it wasn't even triggered by nothing. It was more so just chronic, like nausea as well, like everything, like more symptoms. And I had gotten like MRI scans and stuff and whatever, and there was no sign of anything wrong going on. Anyway, but I knew like something is going on, like especially this kind of level it's taken itself to. And ended up getting a scan. Even the radiologist in the waiting room was like, "You don't have to do this." I'm like, "Yes, I do." He's like, "No, like you're too young. There's nothing going on. You've had tests. You're just being hypochondriac." Anyway, next day comes around, and I get like a phone call from my doctor, and he's like, "Something serious has popped up." I'm like, "What is it?" And he goes, "Your scan shows that you had a mini stroke 2 weeks ago." What? He's like, "Yeah, like a mini stroke." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You got to go to the hospital ASAP. Like it's shown up. You've got to get on these medications." And anyway, it came from apparently atrial fibrillation, which is a heart condition that I developed during this whole demonic thing, which I don't think I mentioned actually. So yeah, anyway, so everyone's freaking out. I'm freaking out. My mum tells me to move back home, so I do that. And then, dude, it was just like such a weird time. This was all in December, so quite recent. And I was like in bed. I was like, I didn't know what the heck was happening. I didn't even feel it. And there was no sign of it either. Like we did all the function tests and everything, and everyone's like, we don't, like the neurologist was like, "I don't get this. You don't look like someone that's just had a freaking stroke." Anyway, so then basically my mum, she's been seeing this kind of like doctor, and she recommended me to see her, and I took this Chinese herbal tea, and I knew that I shouldn't be taking it. And then all of a sudden I'm bedridden for 3-4 days. And then I'm being attacked with these weird lustful thoughts again. And then I'm getting these nighttime attacks again. And I'm like, It's just everything's going on. And I knew that something had just happened. Anyway, so then I kind of started gradually getting better, started this year. After like 3 months, moved back out of home. Everything went downhill. And then I basically was at the point where like I was super fragile. Like I couldn't go to bed after a certain time. I had to be really strict with like, I had to eat every 2 hours. Just my body was copying it. Anyways, so then what happened was about 6 weeks ago, maybe, I was at a Bible study, sort of like fellowship down the road from me. And at the end of it, I just said, "Hey guys, do you mind praying for me? Because I'm going through like, a couple of things." And some of the boys just got around me and just prayed for me. And I started like something started twitching. So there was some sort of demonic presence around me, and I manifested a little bit and had a bit of like a vomit. And when you vomit, for me personally, it usually means something's come out, and something came out, but it wasn't anything crazy, right? Anyways, bro, you wouldn't believe this. The next day, all of a sudden, I'm like, I've had no headaches today. What the heck? Why don't I have headaches? And I'm using the phone. Everything's happening. And I'm like, I got zero. Why? Like, what's going on? And then next day comes around, same thing. Next day. Bro, I got completely healed. From a prayer. And then I had to get a follow-up MRI scan, funnily enough, in this time, which was literally 6 weeks ago. And the results come back, and there's like, you can't even see the stroke being there at all. Like it's miraculous. And so since then, it's just been like I've had nothing. Like I'm basically completely better in that regard. Like it makes no sense. So a lot of, we were speaking off camera about a lot of Christians don't believe in healings in this day and age, and how they believe that there's a verse in I think 1 Corinthians about when it's perfect, the gifts will stop. But bro, I'm telling you right now, I know people that have seen people get out of wheelchairs. I've seen healings at church through prayer. I've seen healings through deliverance. You see the most miraculous things as a Christian, and some just flat out deny it. And it's sad because that's what our faith is all about. It's about faith.
100%.
And you need faith. And I can attest to that completely. So
No, our church is very big on healing and miracles and exorcisms. We've had a lot of guests on this show that just talk about all the stories. We actually
There are a lot of stories, yeah.
our church is actually very, very much known for, and the saints of our church are known for a lot of miracles. So
Amen.
that's amazing, man. I'm so glad that you're in a better state, and it's been a really long journey for you, but I'm so glad that you've come out the other end, and I think your testimony is going to help a lot of people, because a lot of people are going to feel hopeless. So on that point, what would be your message to somebody who's hopeless right now?
Oh, it's a good question. It's a big question. I would just say that when there seems to be no hope in life, just know that there's a greater being or creator out there that loves you and that actually has been with you the whole time. And there's a reason that maybe you wanted to take your own life, but you haven't. And it's because God has been protecting you to this point. And I think the scariest part, when I was considering ending my life, I was looking up places to jump off bridges in Melbourne. I was looking up a gun license. And the scary part about that is that you actually don't know where you're going to go, And when you're a Christian, you understand that there's heaven and hell, and hell is separation from God. And it's somewhere that you don't want to risk going to, And I would say that in terms of just some encouragement, like if I can get out of the darkest time of my life, and you hear millions of people, start watching more videos of testimonies, miraculous healings, because they do exist. And I think Jesus is still active. All the other gods out there, I'm not going to name them all, but they're all still in the tomb, archaeologically. But Jesus was the only one that defeated death. And so when you put your faith in him, you have this spiritual realization and just this comfort. And there's just, the Bible talks about the peace that surpasses all understanding. I can guarantee for the last 4 years, I have had that. And I think people have to understand that the notion of cause and effect, the saying, a building had to have a builder to be created, right? Well, we had to have a master creator create us in the intricate design that we are, with all the cellular functions that happen in our bodies. We have eyes, we have ears, we have, everything is just so perfectly created. It couldn't have just been from a big bang. And so I want people to know out there that there is hope. And there have been people that have died and seen Jesus Christ himself. And for the last 4 years, all I did was I encountered the Lord at church. I didn't take no medicine. I didn't do no counseling. I didn't do any woo-woo stuff back then. It was just that one encounter I had. And for 4 years, I've been fulfilled. And I never had that with all the money, all the fame, all the women, all the status. And so I just say to people, just give God a try. What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. See if he shows up, and I guarantee you will. So don't lose hope.
Beautiful. Very well said. Now that you've found Christ, after everything that you've been through, do you ever think that you'll let go of him?
Nah, no way, bro.
No matter what the devil throws at you?
No way. I would die for his name, man. You see those guys in Syria that are on, they've lined up and they've got a gun to their head, and the ISIS, whatever they are, trying to get them to denounce Christ. I would die. I'll take a bullet. I don't care, because I know how real Jesus is, and I know how real, the Holy Spirit is, and how active, our faith is, and how God can really save someone like myself and millions of other people. So no chance, bro. When you experience the fruits of it, no way. Nothing compares.
What would you say to other influencers or people that in kind of that industry that are in front of the camera and they kind of feel empty or broken behind? Because you've kind of had that fame, or you feel very popular and very loved, but it's kind of empty. What would you say to people in that situation?
Just know that if your identity isn't rooted in something with a solid foundation that is never changeable, you're always going to be lost. Because I'll tell you what, in this industry, yeah, I was really popular at one point, super popular, but it doesn't last. I don't have anywhere near as many people saying, oh, Jamie, let's get a photo in the street anymore. And what that does to someone that once had it is it shakes your identity. It's oh, maybe I'm just, I'm a loser now. No one likes me anymore. Your identity gets crushed. So if your identity is in something that's shakeable, like what the world tries to propagate, you can be 75,000 genders, you can change every single day, it's BS, bro. You're going to be lost. You're going to be easily manipulated by the media, by society. So to influencers out there, you got to understand that. I would say I'm only alive because of my identity in Christ and because it never changes. But these guys out there, they're like the waves of the ocean. You know, they don't know who they are every single day because it's just dependent on views. If you have a viral video one day, then the next one flops. That shakes you bad if you haven't got something that's rooted in the ground. So I would say just like find, you know, something that is sustainable, that's going to last you, that can tell you who you are when you're confused. Because when I was confused about who I was, I didn't have anyone telling me that this is who I was. And I needed that. I needed that, you know, I needed the Bible. I needed God to tell me this is who you are. You know, we're taught to deny ourselves, and that's the best thing we can possibly do, because the heart is wicked. Things that I wanted to do, things that we want to do every day, you understand that half of our thoughts are not even from God. And so yeah, I would say don't get too swayed by the flashing lights. It doesn't last. Like yes, I'm fortunate. I've been doing this for 11 years now, but the majority of guys the last 2 years, you know. And what's going to happen after that? You know, like especially those reality TV guys. Bro, like the dopamine you'd have after the show, and then like 3 months later.
Yeah.
So yeah, just put your identity in something that never changes. That's what I'd say.
Beautiful advice. We have a lot of young men that follow us and watch our content. So a lot of young men would look at someone like you and what you've achieved and all the success and the fame and the girls and that kind of lifestyle is probably like a goal that, you know, they want to be wealthy, they want to be successful. So what would be your advice to young men watching and thinking maybe that's, you know, the ultimate goal?
It's funny you say that because Andrew Tate posted a video the other day and he said, I don't understand this. I'm super famous. I'm super rich. I can get any girl I want, but there's nothing to do. I'm just bored. And the truth is, not that I was at that level at all, or not that I advocate for, you know, many of the things he says. I think he has a couple of things he's really good about, you know, what he says, for sure. It's helped me a lot. Definitely, yeah. But some of the stuff, you know, whatever. Yeah, I would say that there's so much more out there. And you're going to find that once you achieve these things, it's always about the next. I'm a millionaire, I want to be a billionaire now. What is that? Like, yeah, I get you can do things with that. But if you have no purpose and something greater than yourself, like as humans, we're meant to serve others. You see Jesus, you know, the Son of God, wash his disciples' feet, you know, hang out with people, you know, trapped in adultery, you know. And I think serving is our human nature. So if you're not serving something greater than yourself, it's a very empty life. I felt alone the whole time. I had, you know, 10 million followers and I felt so alone, like isolated, you know. And so I would say that it's not all it seems to be. It really isn't. It's a lie straight from the pit of hell, because the devil will distract you with materialism and all these things that you think will fulfill you. And, you know, perfect example of me, like I'm 31 and I've had one serious relationship. But I never understood how to have relationships because I was so consumed by just hookup culture and dopamine, you know? So it will damage you the more you get into this world of materialism, and just go back to basics. That's all you need. And you'll be happy. And you'll just like the story of Job, not saying that you should use God as a transactional creator, but Job, you know, had everything, lost it all, then got double. Not saying that's the, you know, you should.
Don't look at it like that.
Yeah. But like God will bless you in ways you can't imagine. And especially the peace. But like even King Solomon, he had everything, right? And at the end of his life, he realized that like he had everything and all that mattered was worshiping God. It's true. It's true. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
What's a verse in the Bible that brings you the most comfort or joy?
So this year, my verse is Matthew 6:33. So, seek the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all things shall be added to you. That's sort of like how I live at the moment. Well, I should be living all the time. Look, I actually really find comfort in like Ephesians 6:12, like, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, rulers of darkness, because it kind of reminds me that, yeah, like, you know, the guy that didn't let you in the lane when you were driving, that had road rage, like, he's probably just spiritually afflicted. And everything that we're going through is so spiritual as a root cause. So I just feel like that brings me comfort, because whatever happens is like, I just know that the world we live in isn't as we tangibly see it to be. And it's far more spiritual. And things that, and I said this to you guys off camera, like things like a lot of mental health issues, a lot of physical conditions, diseases are all caused by demons. Not all, sorry, but a lot are. Huge amount are. I can literally see people that like, I reckon this guy definitely just has a demon. And there's like millions of stories about it as well. You know, I thought I was sick, but it was just I had some sort of demonic affliction and I got healed. So, yeah, that's what I'd say.
What would you say to people who, you know, are thinking about dabbling in that kind of area, that to open that door, like whether it's, you know, just for fun, or let's do some tarot cards, or let's do the Ouija board, or whatever it's called. What would you say? What's your experience? What's your advice?
You just don't do it. It's just not worth it. It seems all fun and games. It seems like it's harmless, but you're literally, in a legalistic perspective, you're literally saying to the devil, okay, I'm going to do this so you can enter me and do whatever you want. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen after. You don't know why in a week's time you're going to wake up thinking you're a woman, or have all these perverse thoughts, or want to kill someone. Where did they come from? You know? Like, I always say, like, school shooters and people that have gone to prison for murder, not condoning them, but I'm saying there's something demonic that happened that is making them do these things.
Pushed them to do it.
Yeah, it's not normal. Like, you're a human being. Like, we're all made in the image of God. How can we be so corrupted? It's through sin. It's through open doors. And so just don't do it. Because the thing I will say as a sentence is, don't open those doors, because you don't know who you're going to turn into after. I turned into a different human after the Reiki session. That was never me. You don't know what darkness is going to come after
But
you
you
do
found God. You never know what could happen afterwards. You may not.
That's right.
May be too late.
That's right. Yeah.
I got another one for you. After you've told us from when you were 4 all the way up until 31, your whole life, if you could do one thing differently, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question, man. That's a great question.
I've got about 4 answers for you, but it's for you to pick, because you took me around the world with your story.
I don't know. Like, you know how they ask you, like, do you regret everything? I think like, it's sad that I didn't know any better. But I think God can use your pain and your sin for his own glory. Like, even the story of Samson, you know, how obviously he had power in his hair, then he had his eyes gouged out, he was mocked in front of the Philistines, and then he asked God for one last bit of power so he could unlock his purpose or achieve his purpose, and God granted him that, you know. I don't know, man, it's weird, because God can use your situation, any situation, like, for his glory. Even something happened to me recently, where I was chained to a mentor, and then just about some stuff I was struggling with, and then God used that struggle that I was going through, which wasn't good, for something really great. So
There's a purpose
I
in
don't know,
everything.
bro. There's a purpose in everything. Yeah. I think that maybe just, I think pride comes before the fall, you know. I was quite prideful back then, and I thought I was invincible. And I think okay, good. This is a good answer, I think. Well, somewhat of a good answer. I think you don't know that you're actually not invincible. Like, I thought I was invincible. Bro, like, the way I was going, something bad was going to happen. It was inevitable. And when you're in that fast-paced life with all the things around you, all the worldly things, like, my dad's told me stories about people that are in my position, especially young, because I was so young, you know, early 20s, and I had all this stuff. My dad was telling me stories about people that got, you know, famous and were in the industry young, and they ruined their lives because they had no idea how to deal with it. So just slow down, I would say. Just slow down. Think twice about things, yeah.
Sorry. So your family's reaction to these changes now, I know you're working on your dad. What about your mum? When they saw that you've been through, like, pretty much hell and back, and now that you're a completely different person, like, probably they feel like they got their real son back. How has that affected them? Has that caused them to ask questions about Christ, and what's the situation with your family?
Yeah, man. So my mum obviously, like, went through everything with me, you know. She was at the forefront of it, because I'd be talking to her every day and I'd be telling her what was going on. She couldn't understand the spiritual part for many, many years. So long. Like, she used to say to me, like, oh, you know, like, she'd message me randomly, like, after the whole thing. Even, like, as recent as last year, you know. Or even sometimes now, she'd be like, you know what, like, that Reiki session you did, I reckon the practitioner had some oil that you had an allergic reaction to. Like, Mum, we've figured out the cause, please. No, but I reckon it was also because she's, like, a real big, like, advocate for, like anti-vax and, like, just freedom and rights and
Thinking of
stuff.
something, yeah.
Yeah. So she couldn't understand it, but she was so happy that, you know, I found Christ. But for her, it was like a slow understanding of, like, is there a God? You know what I mean? And like me telling her all these things, I realized, and look, she did see it all. You know, expectedly you would think that she'd become a Christian straight away, but no, it was a bit slower, a bit more gradual. But man, I've obviously been praying for her a lot. I brought her to church. She loves church, you know. She's done the sort of like the salvation altar call prayer many times now. But I think the fruits I can see is like, I really think she's now calls herself a Christian.
Beautiful.
And she really believes, like, she had a bit of trouble understanding Jesus. She kind of started with God, but now she's just seen an overwhelming amount of evidence, and she's a Christian. So praise the Lord for that. And my dad, look, it was hard because even when I was going through all that stuff in 2021, I didn't tell him anything was wrong because it was in China. I couldn't, you can't say that stuff over the phone. I only told him about 4 years later.
Wow.
I sat down and I go, look, this happened to me. And he can't understand it. He still to this day can't understand it because he's like, he's from China. Like, you don't get taught that stuff. It's all mental or physical. Like, you just never hear about it. So I'm working on him. But one day, I guarantee. Yeah, I took him to church on the weekend, actually.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so he's a work in progress. But he's happy I'm a Christian. More from like a discipline perspective, you know, so.
I was just thinking, when you were younger, you thought you weren't enough for your family, and then as you got older and you found God, you became the leader of your family. So it's a really interesting way, the way God brings everything together.
Yeah.
And we always pray for answers, but we don't pray for patience to understand when it'll come at the right time. So
Amen, bro. 100%, yeah.
one of the final questions. You have a massive fan base, obviously, and you always have the content will live forever. What's your advice for fans or people that follow you, the Jamie now?
Look, it's funny that you're asking that question right now because the last couple of days, I've just thought, you know what, like, I've always wanted to be a lot more bold on my social media, and I've always been held back because there have been certain deals, you could say, that are going on that might be ruined if I say the wrong thing, kind of thing. But I've always had this like yearning to really just speak the truth. And I feel I made a video the other day talking about how there are only two genders. You guys might have seen it. And it was weird because I wasn't really planning on posting it. But what was incredible about that was that I just watched it over. And it was actually the first time in years I've actually seen my true self on camera. Wow. I was like, wow, I got to post this. I don't care what the backlash is. I simply do not care. And it just really helped me have this like boldness come to life, you could say. So I would say be expecting a lot more like just things that you probably wouldn't expect about me for me to make content about, because I feel like no one's speaking up still, you know? Everyone's kind of held back, especially since COVID. The last 5 years, we've all been silenced. And I've been scared, and we've all been scared. But now, you know, thankfully the platforms have been a lot more lenient. So Facebook, Instagram, actually since Trump's come in, it's gotten way better, bro. Like you can say whatever you want now, honestly, whatever you want. So I'm going hard. So yeah, I'm going to piss a lot of people off, but you know, Jesus was persecuted, and so I'll happily be persecuted like for him, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you have such a great platform, and I mean, someone would love to encourage you to use your platform to, you know, don't ever be scared to God's not going to let you fall. Like if you're always, you know, God says that, you know, if you profess him in front of men, then he'll profess you in front of the angels in heaven. And if you deny him, then you'll be denied. So
That's right.
Definitely be bold. And, you know, I think the next chapter of Jamie Zoo is going to be a really strong chapter.
The best one, yeah.
Yeah. And I think your story can touch a lot of people. So I think, you know, what I would encourage you to do from the outside looking in, like, I think lean into the Christian content, because people are hurting. People want to hear it. People want to see somebody who's gone through it. Because it's all good for me and Simon to sit here and talk about Jesus because, you know, we've grown up with Jesus.
We're in that bubble.
Yeah. So for us, somebody listening to us maybe won't get as much, but from someone listening to you and seeing the other side like you have, and then talking about it, I think that's really powerful.
Thank you. Yes.
So one of our final questions we ask our guests, what does it mean to be the salt of the earth?
What does it mean to be the salt of the earth? It's a good question. I like salt. Like I salt my food a lot, you know. The salt of the earth. Look, I feel like there's obviously a lot of people in the world, but I feel like when you go against the grain, it provokes something where you can actually shift society.
Mhm.
And I feel like, just to kind of answer your question, if I'm doing it right, look, I'm excited, man, like to be different, not just go with what the agenda is and what society wants you to talk about and be like. And I think, as I said, like Christ is a perfect representation of that. So I think the more we can stand up for what we believe in, especially in this world of like leftism and progressiveness, it's destroying families and just the world in general, in my belief. I feel like, yeah, it's just important to have like brothers and sisters around you as well that are going to push you, because you're going to have a lot of backlash from people that don't agree with what you're doing. And I think for me, I'm really careful about who I take advice from now, especially in the sense of like how these people living their lives, and does that resonate with what I'm trying to achieve. So I think, look, just being different is a game changer. And I think you're always going to get persecuted for something that you do that steps outside the norm. But I think it's a blessing, I think heaven rejoices whenever we get persecuted for the Lord. So that's, I guess, my answer, if that made sense.
Did make perfect sense. And I want to say, you've come on today. Thank you so much. But you've encapsulated what we've always wanted to do with this podcast. And that's to show people that no matter where you are in life, what stage you are in life, it's never, ever too late to come back to Christ. And he will always accept you with love. It's us that need to be able to be willing to be embraced. All you did was you walked in the door to God, and he ran to you. So that's, I think, a message we can all take from today, is that no matter what, always have your heart open. He is there waiting for you. We just have to open up our hearts, and the rest will work itself out.
Amen. And God's close to the brokenhearted.
Always.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you,
Really,
Jamie.
really
No
appreciate your
worries.
time, and hope to do it again sometime.
Amen.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
boys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.